Welcome back. Donald Trump's brash style has endeared him to a solid group of supporters. But can it carry him to the White House? Analysts say he will need to broaden his base beyond that core group to win the general election. And toning down his approach could help him appeal to more voters. Joining me right now is Dr. Ben Carson, a former GOP presidential candidate himself and a Trump supporter. Dr. Carson, good to see you.
Thank you. You too, Maria.
So when you look at, whether or not Donald Trump should tone it down and change his approach, I always go back to, well, let's not forget that brash style is what thrust him into the spotlight and resonated with so many people. Should he change it now?
Well, a lot of what people are calling brashness is failure to comply with the standards of political correctness. And I don't think that's something that he should give up at all. I think that you do see him tending to focus more on the issues now and less on other people, and I think that's going to be helpful.
That's what we really need, because I think voters and viewers want to hear substance from him about all of the issues that he cares about. But one that keeps resonating is the ability to create jobs, because he's a businessman. How do you compare his ability to create jobs to the others in the race right now, including Hillary as well as Bernie?
Well, he's had practical, real experience in the world, and he's going to surround himself with people with practical experience as well. I don't think it's going to be that difficult, and he and I have talked about this, to get this economy rolling again by simply creating the right kind of fair tax structure, getting rid of the incessant regulations, 81,000 pages of regulatory reform just in the last year. These things are killers when it comes to the job market. So he understands that. He also understands how to create trade deals that are fair. He doesn't necessarily want us to take advantage of everybody, but he doesn't want everybody to be taking advantage of us. And it's something that we just have not been paying attention to in recent years.
Which is why he's resonating so much with this core group of people, because that's the way they see it, that he is going to be the tough guy who's actually going to protect America. But there's the will of the people, and then there's something else, right, Dr. Carson? I mean, he keeps saying that the system is rigged, and he keeps talking about the fact that, that you could get the popular vote and not get the delegate count. How do you see it?
Well, you look at some of the things that are going on, like in Arizona and Colorado, what happened in Virginia just recently. These things don't truly reflect the will of the people. Now, I know the politicians will say, well, we've known about these rules all along. That's how politicians talk. That's what they say. That's what people are so tired of. The status quo, the trickery, and the manipulation. They want the candidate to be the person that they have selected. And this is problematic. If the Republicans can understand that and address that, believe me, they will also attract a lot of Bernie Sanders voters.
So, and which has been the appeal of Donald Trump, because some people say he's bringing in Republicans, but he's also bringing in Democrats. You look at what Newt Gingrich just told us. Voter turnout on the Republican side is up 60%, while Democratic turnout is down, I think, 20%.
Yeah, the enthusiasm issue is one that a lot of these polls don't take into consideration. When you go out and you poll someone on the telephone, that doesn't mean they're actually coming out to vote. And it's the enthusiasm that will make the difference in the fall.
So what do you think happens now in terms of Indiana, California? How important are these contests, and how does this race look different, do you think, in the next 2 weeks?
Well, they're very, very important. And the reason that they're so important is that we've come down to crunch time. And, our founders, and particularly Thomas Jefferson, had an enormous amount of faith in the American people. Not so much in the politicians and the political class. And they said, ultimately, when we got into a situation like this, where we were at a crossroads in terms of which way the nation was going to go, what kind of people were we going to become, the people themselves would rise up. They would supersede the system. I believe the people in Indiana are probably going to prove that quite effectively. I've been to Indiana many, many times. There are a lot of really solid people there. And I think they're going to figure out what's going on here and the manipulation that's going on here. And, you look at, Bobby Knight and what he represents. And then even Governor Pence, who I think he's a great guy. I love him. But you see how tepid that endorsement was that he did on Friday. That's the kind of endorsement you give when you have your backers twisting your arms saying you got to do this.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, because he also had some nice things to say about Trump, actually, even though he was endorsing Ted Cruz.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, we will watch that.
It's all about the people.
And we're going to speak with Bobby Knight coming up in the program. The famous basketball coach will be joining us in just a few minutes. Dr. Carson, good to see you, sir. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Maria.
We'll see you soon. Dr. Ben Carson there.